And a quick little side note before we get into the actual part of the video today, I've made a couple tweaks to some settings, trying to get this up to 60 FPS. We were on 30. Hopefully it all worked out. If things seem a little finicky, do definitely let me know down below. But that is all the updates into the typical video. And with that hot and cold start that we had for this series, we are going to be moving forward through the remainder of Season 1 today, and we'll see how it ends up turning out. We are starting off 2-4 in a division that's very much being led by two teams, being the Chargers and the Broncos, the same two teams that we open up today's episode against. So we're going to get into both those games. I'm thinking quarter sims, maybe get a little bit into the fourth quarter. But we very much saw last episode that our offense was struggling. To this point, pretty early on in the season, Drew Lock has thrown 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. It's not a good ratio, barely above 50% completion. So the passing game is definitely not working out all too well. The rushing game hasn't been great either. Tyler Batty, 2.9 yards a rush, 3 touchdowns. JD McKissick, 2.4 yards a carry, no touchdowns. So we're needing to make a couple changes for this offense to really try to get them going. And I looked at making trades and there just wasn't anything that seemed possible for us right now. So instead, we've tweaked a little bit of the offensive scheme. We were on a vertical zone. We're changing to the spread because this doesn't specifically say that it's going to use a lot of deep shots. Locke doesn't have as good of accuracy deep. His best is medium and short. So this hopefully will utilize that a little bit more mixed with the San Francisco playbook. It's not a spread, but it's going to primarily run the ball while trying to get some short and medium passes using some play action. So hopefully we see that have some form of an effect. Defensive scheme, we are not changing. It's kind of the cleanest playbook I feel like for running a 3-4 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hopefully these changes do end up making a difference and we start to see an immediate impact. And of course, as mentioned, it's an immediate impact that we do need as we open up today against the Chargers, who are at the top of our division, 4-1. We could really use a big win here. And a little bit of lucky, unlucky. It's at home, but it's in the rain as we already start up giving up a touchdown. And that will hold throughout the remainder of the first quarter. Chargers lead 7-0. As we get into the second, looks a lot more defensive. We drive down the field, just give up a field goal, then give up a touchdown. Though it did look like we nearly gave up another one there before half. But it is 14-3. Can we have a good third quarter here? Drive down the field, get a touchdown. Also the 2-point added on. We're at the fourth quarter now. And it is 14-11. A field goal game for about 0.2 seconds before Tony Pollard knocks it into the end zone and they regain a 10-point lead. So we need the offense once again march down the field. We need some big plays. Trey Palmer with 11, then a throwaway, 2nd and 10, 7 to Traylon Burks, leaving short down yardage, which we don't get, but we might need to go for it here. So we'll come out with a heavier set, 3 tight ends, 1 receiver. We just need 3 yards. We've got some short, quick stop routes where we have to swing this one out. It's gonna be Tyler Batty who stretches. Gonna depend on the spot there, but it looks like the Chargers celebrating. Batty thinks he has it, but the refs do not agree. It's gonna be a turnover on downs. Had to get aggressive there as we were down 10. Does put them in a pretty good spot to tack on some more points as they are moving. Got a 3rd and 5, and they pick it up with 7. It's definitely a very tough team for us to go against. Tony Pollard, he can be really good and is pretty good in Madden as they pick up another first down inside the 15, now down inside the 5. 2nd and 2, they pick up another first down at the 1. And Tony Pollard finds another touchdown as they're starting to run away with it, and it's an interception for Edmonds. Just another one tacked on by Locke. He has not been very good, and it will inevitably be another loss, though we might find some points late, and we do. Some garbage time points makes it 31-18 at the end of this one. As we get into the game against the Broncos, this time on the road, once again, we are down in the first, and it's double from the last week, 14-0. Again, the Broncos, they were 2nd in our division, and they're up a whole bunch right now. Headed towards halftime, it is 27 to 0. So the offense doing absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, the defense really not helping us out at all. We do finally get a touchdown on the board, but starting the fourth quarter, it is 41-7. Can we at least get some amount of points here late on? Instead, we give up some points, and we do once again find a garbage touchdown at the end. But that is the exact opposite start than what we needed here, as we drop the first 2 games, both against the top teams in our division. But now an important thing to check from these games is, did just changing the offensive playbook help out at all? Did we see any improvement? Well, against the Chargers, we actually were pretty close yardage-wise. They had 334, we had 324. We obviously got some points late on, but once again, it's another 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions from Drew Lock. He did have a higher completion percentage, a 64, but it's still not a clean game running the ball. How did we? Well, first off, we did not do well against Tony Pollard. 3 touchdowns on 25 carries, though it was under 100 yards, so in a matter, semi-okay. But our running game was actually a lot more improved in this one. Tyler Batty, 4.3 yards a carry, did have a touchdown, but still a lot left to be desired. Receiving wise, Trey Palmer, he continues to be pretty solid out there. At least both of our receivers averaged a first down a catch. Honestly, even our third guy, but it's only limited catches. So we're not just dominating by any means in any single category. As for the blocking, did we give up any sacks? No. So at least there is a positive. But what seems like 0 positivity across the board, the Denver Broncos game, we gave up nearly 500 yards for 90. Meanwhile, we only had a little bit over, essentially 250 dead on. And in this one, Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdowns, threw for about 350 on us. Drew Lock improved. It was flipped, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception, but he's at least throwing 1 interception every single game. And it's a better completion percentage, 75%. Running the ball, Derrick Henry, 5 yards a carry. We struggled against him. They also had A.J. Dillon, a great 1-2 punch there. We could not slow down. And then to top it all off, Ty Chandler coming out there, he gets the touchdown. As for us, it was a regression back to the mean in this one, as J.D. McKissic, 2.8 yards a rush, and Tyler Batty, 2.1. So definitely not very good there. And receiving wise, again, no one really standing out here. We did get a touchdown for the rookie in Matt Landers and a touchdown for our fullback in Carter. It was a 21-yard grab, so there's at least some big play for us, but for the most part, the offense just really isn't moving much at all. Jason Peters did give up a sack, but it was the defense that was really bad in this one. Did we have any real tackles for loss? 3 with Golden Sue and Collins. What about sacks? We had, again, 3, so we're getting back there. It just seems like we're not doing well in coverage. As how much did we give up receiving wise for the Broncos? Allen Robinson, 7 catches, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, okay, so it's actually just a stacked receiving core here for him. It's actually a really, really good team. Robinson, Lamb, Hopkins, Henry, Schultz, and Dillon. Honestly, yeah, it makes sense why we would lose by so much to them. Not going to harp on the defense too much from that game, but we really needed to see something better moving forward. And if you wanted to make a change at quarterback, given the struggles from Drew Lock, our next option is Blaine Gabbert, who right now, with the morale taking it down, he's a 59 overall. And the accuracies really don't look like they're going to be much better at all than Lock. We could even compare them. And for the throw power, much better with Drew Lock. Short accuracy, about the same. Medium, the same. Deep, a little bit less with Gabbert. So Drew Lock is our best possible quarterback for us right now, and as we saw in the last episode, there's not a quarterback in the next draft class, so we've got to figure things out elsewhere. And if we wanted to look towards the draft and see what possible moves could be made then, well, we could select our focus scouting right now, and honestly, part of me is kind of wanting to see what Khalid Bryant has here. There is a potential undrafted, just not a highly rated guy. But all we have right now is a range, and that range could either be surprisingly really good, but most likely is going to be much more towards the lesser side. Or we could try to finish up some scouting on some of the really top guys that we could go after, like Cecil Dennard, around 3 to 4 receiver, who does have some deep route running, some catch and traffic, but catching and release a little bit iffy. As for the other option, on the defensive side, there is a speed rusher who his primary thing, you'd assume, going to be the finesse moves, but the block shed also has that same variant, so might need to take a good look at him. There is also a DT in Assad Rivers, who is a day 3 power rusher, but he's pretty even in both the rushing categories with finesse and power both being that C. But with the top 4 all kind of picked out here for Rivers, I do think we try to finish some things up here. We go with Dawson, we go with Dennard, and I'm going to give the third one to the quarterback because clearly we need some quarterback help, and hopefully Brian ends up being a whole lot better than what most people are giving him credit for. But as we get through the next quarter or so into the final quarter of the season, it's been the same problem week after week. We've scored in this episode the most of 16 points in one game while we've given up 44 in a single game. But let's run through these stats again real quick, see what's been going on. It's another game that the stats are close and the scoreboard was actually pretty close against the Miami Dolphins. 21-14. We gave up 228, but we had 275. But it's another game in which Drew Lock double interceptions. It's at least one a game. He's under 60% completion. Meanwhile, Tajay Spears, he ran all right against us. Even better for Jeff Wilson. Meanwhile, Tyler Batty, just 2.2 yards a carry. And our next guy in McKissick, 1 yard a carry. Receiving wise, Traylon Burks, he did have a good game in this one. So that is good to see. 6 catches, 129 yards, and a touchdown. And we didn't give up a dominant game to any of their guys. Alberto did have 3 catches, 33 yards, so 11 yards a catch, nothing too bad there. And Tyler Batty did get 1 catch, 13 yards, and a touchdown. So that's going to help him grow a little bit. Meanwhile, for the defense, Dylan Cole led us in tackles with 11. There was 1 tackle for a loss with him, but we did have 2 for Wise, but we gave up 2 for Bobby Okereke and Jadeveon Clowney. And overall, it was just not a good looking game from our defensive line, though. Randy Gregory did have 2.5 sacks. Greenlaw had half a sack. Interceptions, both of them went to Levi Wallace. Against the Eagles, where we only managed to score once and give up 28 points, we had 265 yards of offense. Meanwhile, we gave up 336 and 2 touchdowns for Derek Carr. No touchdowns nor interceptions for Drew Lock, and his completion percentage was a 75. Honestly, I would probably take that over some of these other ones. Austin Eckler, we struggled against 4.4 yards a carry. Derek Carr even had 4.3 yards a carry. Rashad Penny, 4.6. We did get 3 yards a carry with Tyler Batty, so a little bit of an improvement there. McKissick, though, just 2.3. Amir Abdullah, though, did get a touchdown. He had 2 attempts for 2 yards, but 6 points. As for the receiving game, Austin Eckler, he led the entire game with 1 catch, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Traylon Burks, in not as flashy of a game, but still a first down a catch. Palmer, less than a first down a catch, but only by 0.2 yards, but just nothing flashy there at all. And defensively, Levante David led both teams in tackles, though tied with Casey Hayward. As for tackles for a loss, we gave up 2 to Von Bell, but did get 1 with David as well as Gregory. Then we gave up a few more down the line. Sack-wise, gave up 1.5 for Miller, 1 for Russo, half for Hayward. We got none. Against the Raiders, the game that we had the most amount of offense, we actually had less yardage, 241, while we gave up 344. In this one, Justin Fields, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and Drew Lock, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 55% completion. So, yeah, I would take the games where there's no touchdowns and no interceptions over these. Gus Edwards, 2.8. That was probably our best job at stopping the run, but we also still gave up 2 touchdowns with it. Fields, we kept to 4.5 yards a scramble. Not bad. Tyler Batty did finally have a good game, 4.1 yards a carry. Gillespie, we actually let the fullback do a little bit of some work on us. And any of our backups, 1 rush for Abdullah, 4 yards, and 1 for McKissick for 1. So the backups not doing much there. Receiving-wise, nothing flashy once again. Landers, 3 catches, 54 yards, was our best receiver. We did give up a touchdown to Disley and to Mac Hollins. We got 1 for ourselves in Trey Palmer and 1 for Traylon Burks. Now in this one, both of the tackling leaders were from our side. Drew Greenlaw with 8, as well as Marcus Golden. Tackles for loss, Golden did have 2, 1 for Greenlaw, 1 for Odom, 1 for Taylor Britt, 1 for Watts, and 1 for Gillespie. So we didn't give up a single tackle for a loss. Yeah, we still lost this game. Did give up a sack, however, though, to Sam Williams and Miles Murphy. And the interceptions went to Rock Yassin and Razul Douglas. And in the final game from this stretch, we lost to the Packers 30-10. And again, we're just not getting that many total yards. 237, we gave up 367. 2 touchdowns for Bryce Young, 1 for Drew Lock, 42% complete. So he's just not throwing accurate passes. Breece Hall over 100 yards and a touchdown. And Kenneth Gainwell also got a touchdown. Tyler Badley 3.7, it's okay. Honestly, I feel like that's what we kind of got to take. Trey Palmer, though, did go over 100. We gave up 75 on 5 to DJ Chark. Robbie Chosen did get a touchdown, as well as Kittle. But hey, Albert O got 1 for us. And defensively, it's another tandem for ourselves that led the teams in tackles. Greenlaw with 9, as well as Mike Ford. Tackles for a loss, Greenlaw with 2, Collins 2, Sue 2. We did give up 2 to Thule. That's just what I'm going to call him. Probably not correct either. The rookie out of USC, as well as Fletcher Cox and Greg Gaines. Plus Bolton and Ogunjobi. There was just a lot of tackles for loss spread out, so neither offensive line necessarily seemed to do all too well, though only 2 sacks combined for both teams, 1 for Wise and then Gaines and Ogunjobi split. Interceptions went to Aruarie. But I think one of the most telling stats right now of how bad this offense is doing is, for total on the year, Brett Maher has only attempted 8 field goals. That is less than 1 per week, which tells me that the offense isn't even getting into field goal range. Obviously, we've had a lot of interceptions this year. We can just go ahead and get an update on that. Drew Lock, 17 interceptions to 12 touchdowns thrown. So we're just not even getting to a point where points are a possibility for us right now. And with just a handful of weeks left in this one, what can we do to help us out in the future? Well, Drew Lock, he's the only possible future we have at quarterback, so he's going to have to stay out there. As for running back, Tyler Batty, he's been the primary guy. He's going to have to stick with it. Receivers, can we get any younger options out there? We've been going mostly with Landers, and he's going to be that youngest option. Tight ends, they're all 25. Don't really want to sub out the offensive line because that would just make things a little bit more worse. Maybe Gates could jump in at the left guard spot over Froholt, but he's also just 27. So it's really not going to be that big of a difference. They're actually the same age. In fact, probably what we end up doing is someone like Cam Jurgens, who's not much of a pass blocker, maybe has to bump out to tackle, and then we get Gates in at right guard. So we'll give that a go, see how much of a difference that makes. As for the defensive line, primarily we've been using Wise, Collins, and Sue. So we need to maybe try to get some of these younger guys in. I mean, Collins is going to be the youngest for DT. There is Marshall, who's a 64, and Roberts, who's a 65. So maybe we get them a little bit more involved over someone like Ndamukong Suh, who is 36 and probably retiring after this year. Also, same with Jeremiah Ledbetter, who's a 67. As for the edge rushers, well, Trey Flowers, the youngest at left, and at right, we might just need to get Charles Harris more involved over on the opposite side. Stick with Gregory down the middle. I'm honestly thinking just stick with Levante David because there's not much of a younger option there. Cornerback wise, the top 2 guys are Taylor Britt and Evans. So maybe we move out forward and give someone like Rochelle an opportunity. That would definitely help us out for the future. Safety wise, Owens versus Bledsoe. Well, speed wise, definitely better with the higher overall. And cover-wise, going to be about the same. What about Strong? We could definitely give Gillespie an opportunity as Odom and that overall just not much of a difference. So let's make a couple changes for the roster, get some young guys out developing a little bit, and get us to the last and final week where we will watch and hopefully see some good play. And actually, we're going to pull up and we're going to play through the Bengals game. As in Week 18, it's the Chargers. We're going to see plenty of them. So let's see what happens in the Bengals one. But prior to this one, it was once again a whole lot of nothing good. We scored 10, 7, 6, and 6. Just Not much from the offense. Now, one thing I did try, I don't remember in which game I did make that change. Might have been the Bills one, but I did change Drew Lock's player type from a pocket style to a scramble style, just because I wanted to see if that would make him run around a little bit more. He ran for 6 times against the Bills. Against the Patriots, he ran 8 times, neither of which were for much of any amount of real yards. And against the Raiders, he only ran 4 times for 15. So that really doesn't seem to have made much of a difference. So I might end up changing it back or maybe put it to balanced just so he utilizes his athleticism a little bit more. But in week 17, we are 2-13 going absolutely nowhere. And in fact, are we currently the worst team in the NFL? No, surprisingly. We are not the worst. We are the second worst, as the Browns have the same record as us, but somewhere along the way, they just got the worst end of the stick. So if we had a first round pick, we would currently be picking 2, but it doesn't quite matter because we traded that one away for Greenlaw. Well, let's jump into this Bengals game, go through it probably fairly quickly, see how much ends up happening, and if there's much of any good, we'll watch a little bit more. If there's not, we'll get through it pretty quickly. Be our better half out first, as it is going to be the defense. Kyler Murray with an empty set get us going. So it will be a throw down to the bottom and caught turning up. It's a gain of 6-7 yards. Credit that one to Tim Patrick. Definitely intrigued to see how this defense starts to flow a little bit, because we have a really good tandem at linebacker, but they're probably really our only good tandem as they get involved there. Keep it 3rd and inches. But outside of at least one of the linebackers, because I expect the other 2 retire going into the next season, we maybe have one key guy for the future, as there's a flag on the big run, plus a big hit there at the end. But it's going to be holding on Irv Smith Jr. that's going to bring it back. So a 3rd and 6, we get helped out a little bit, as it's another empty set, 3 up top, 2 down to the bottom. But as I was trying to say, we really only have 2 real guys for the future, and a sack comes in. It's Roberts getting one of the opportunities late, as he's one of the young guys. He picks up a big play. That'll get our offense out on the field with a blank scoreboard, which is always good for us. As we start with some play action, Locke going down to the bottom and not gonna get the catch. It is through the hands of Carter. But I want to say that is the fullback that we have. Haven't really utilized him much, at least in the games we've seen so far. 2nd and 10. Will be a handoff that gets stuffed in the backfield. Abdullah, 1 carry, -1 yards. Will leave us needing 11 here on 3rd down. First down is at the 39. So it will be a throw. Lock going with the halfback screen. We get it out to our guy. McKissick breaks 1 and then gets smacked down by the 2nd. We net 2, actually just 1 yard that entire drive. And I think that very plainly shows why the offense hasn't been scoring. They're just not moving the ball. They look very disjointed. As the defense gets a 2nd straight stop, 4th and 3, they punt away. Can the offense finally get moving here? Abdullah getting most of the carries so far, it feels like today. That's already at least 4 as he picks up the first down on 3rd and 2. 1st and 10. Drew Lock rushes. Okay, so that's what we're trying to see, if he would do that a little bit more. But we have 3rd and 6 as Trey Palmer picking up the big catch, going back to Abdullah. I don't think Batty got hurt at all. At least I didn't see any notification of it. As McKissick comes in, he picks up the first to midfield. And if we get inside the 25 or inside the 20, we'll definitely jump in. 3rd and inches, though. I guess that was a McKissick run? I don't know. Either way, it's a first down for us, and I'm not going to complain. Give us 1 more, and we will jump in. Knocked away by Gonzalez. 3rd and 3. That'll do from Stanley Morgan Jr. I love a little bit of some highlights here to end what has not been a great season. Obviously, just 2 wins up to this point. Drew Lock with a quick throw at the ankles of Traylon Burks. So that one definitely not what we're wanting. If you can't complete a 5-yard pass, we're definitely going to be struggling. 2nd and 10. It's a deep drop back, going towards the back corner, and well, that went to the tunnel. So 3rd and 10. What can we do? Honestly, I would go for it on fourth because why not? Got a bunch down to the bottom, one up top. Block. Down to the bottom corner once again, but it's through the hands of Palmer. The hit knocks it away. But as mentioned, why not go for it here? Just 2 wins. There is nothing for us to lose as we're going to actually flip the plays. They got 2 out to the outside. See if Stoll can leak all the way over to the right-hand side. Actually covered pretty well. Coming across, we got Morgan who gets the catch. He got us down here. And he helps us finish it off. Stanley Morgan Jr. Just need to see a good bit more of that as Owens knocks it away, leaving 2nd and 10. Then thrown away by Kyler Murray. 3rd and 10, they get 12 to Tim Patrick. So we almost got our 3rd straight stop. Then a penalty on a Caleb Evans, going to be a free chunk of yardage as they're into plus territory with the 7-yard rush. With a first down to the 30. 1st and 10, 4 more to Irv Smith Sr. or Jr. Then a penalty, and now they're down to the 11. So we finally get some points on the board, and now the Bengals having their best drive yet. So we got a double A-gap look here. We only bring 5. We set the corner blitz, but it's a diving catch. Tim Patrick, a quick leveler following our first touchdown, makes this one 7-7. With all this scoring opening up, hopefully we continue to see that from our offense, and we really haven't scored much more than, let's say, 20 points in a game this season, at least on average. But Roach is going to help us out with a big penalty, moves us to plus territory around the 45. Then a throwaway by Drew Lock, 2nd and 10, another throwaway, 3rd and 10, we pick up 3, 4th and 7 at the 41. Why not go for it? We've got to make sure we're putting some points on the board, and this is a prime opportunity as we're closing in around the 2-minute mark, 2.5 still on the clock. They send a little bit of a blitz. We get it to the outside, and it's caught by Stoll, but it's too far to the sideline. He had no chance of turning it up, and it will be a turnover on downs. So after we score on our last drive on, well, I guess 2 drives ago, that last one didn't end up going anywhere. 3rd and 6, a chance to get off the field. We will. Caleb Evans knocks it away, so we don't score, they don't score. We're inside the 2-minute, knocked away by Gonzalez. 1st and 10, thrown away. 3rd and 10, 5 yards. We'll have to punt from there. Too risky. We're doing pretty well defensively so far in this one. Just need to hold that through the end of this half. Madden does love those late half shenanigans, but Taylor Britt knocks it away. 2nd and 10, 6 more to Tim Patrick. There are around 30 seconds left as they throw it away. 4th and 4. They went for it and they did not convert. So that leaves us 37 seconds at the Oppo 35. Can we find some points before half? Well, we got some press coverage on the outside. Burke's not really known for having that release. Can he get some here? Had a step on the cover man for a second, but it's going to be knocked away by Stevenson. Honestly, he's not even supposed to be playing on the outside. He's supposed to be playing as our slot receiver, so Madden apparently not sticking true to the depth chart as the pass rush right around the edge. We'll pick up the sack. 3rd and 19. We'll let the clock run for one more play. Now we'll just have to see if that 89, I believe, or 86 throw power from Drew Lock can get it all the way down the field. As we are sending everyone Hail Mary attempt, just need the line to block long enough. Let it rip. It's going to be around the 15, 20. Either way, it's knocked away. So the first half ends with not a whole lot of action. 7-7 as I guess the sun just got a few miles closer. Well, luckily for us, as we get the second half underway, it is our offense out here. Try to grab something. 8 on first down, I'll take it. 2nd and 2, we pick up the first with Amir Abdullah. Then 4 more going right back to him. 2nd and 6, Jack Stoll picking up 8 with that fresh set of downs. We're around midfield now, just past it. Once again going Amir Abdullah. So I don't know why, but we are not seeing any of Tyler Batty in this one. As Alberto picks up the first down, we're in plus territory. Back to Abdullah. Then a knockaway by Damone Clark leaves 3rd and 8. But we get 25 to Traylon Burks, and let's jump in from here. Looking for only our 2nd touchdown on the day. Luckily, our defense hasn't found themselves giving up that same amount, at least yet. Knock on wood. Handed off down the middle. It is Abdullah getting slammed down. 16 carries today, 47 yards. Not great. Don't know why Madden is not playing Batty, but if they don't want to play him, they don't want to play him. 2nd and 9. Lock from a clean pocket. will step up, deliver outside, finding his target, who's in a very bright spot of the field right now, picking up the first and goal. It's once again Stanley Morgan making the play, or Morgan Jr. He's made all of them really for this offense today, has our touchdown. As we go down the middle, Abdullah trying to bounce, not going to get very far. This isn't a necessarily very strong offensive line, and it'll probably get a little bit worse after this season. As we hand it off again, Abdullah stuffed at the 4. Aluakon flexing on us as we need to find a touchdown within these next 2 plays. We will go for it if we need to. Locke having to throw it, finding his target, and it's in the end zone. Credit that one to Matt Landers, the rookie. Now with that, we take the 14-7 lead, plus we start by getting, well, an injury is going to help us out for their offensive line, but we start with a loss of 3. Then they get back that 3, 3rd and 10. We give up 27. DK Metcalf, where has he been? Well, someone's been locking him down. I'm assuming Taylor Britt. And Marcus Golden with the 5-yard penalty. It will be a 1st and 10. DK back with 7. 2nd and 3. First down from Nyheim Hines. They're putting in all new players that I haven't even seen do anything in this one. As Kareem Hunt been their primary guy, he picks up an extra 5 as they're down inside the 10 from Tim Patrick. So it really seems like we cannot play with momentum, because every time we get that touchdown, the defense then has their worst drive to follow it up. As Murray stepping up, scrambling, and bouncing off the defender, not into the end zone, about a hairline shy. Honestly, Murray couldn't even believe the ref called him short there. It's 2nd and goal. As it will be the goal line set, hard count, no one jumps, play action across the middle, and he finds his target. We had a guy just sitting there, but it's going to be Irv Smith Jr. with the tutty. But how will we respond? Well, Abdullah picking up 4, leaves 2nd and 6, and make it 1st down as he picks up 7. Then Drew Lock, just a 1-yard rush. 2nd and 9, 6 more to Amir Abdullah, leaving 3rd and short, and we pick it up at Stanley Morgan Jr. once again. He's making prime plays with his opportunities here late. Wow, I can't speak. J.D. McKissick, then Amir Abdullah, and a 1-yard run back to McKissick, leaves 3rd and 4, knocked away by Clark. We could take the field goal here or go for the touchdown. And honestly, I would much prefer keeping this offense moving. Try to go for that touchdown, not necessarily on this play, but we could still keep the hope alive as it's out for Morgan. He could stay down the sideline here, down inside the 10, down to the 7. Now, if you live close to the KC Stadium here, is it really this bright, or is Madden just being broke? Either way, it's 1st and goal. Locke trying to buy some time, looking to tuck and run it down to the 3 as Jason Peters shaken up on the play. And that could potentially, on the severity of that injury, be the last play of his career. 2nd and goal. Looking for a touchdown here to take a lead. Locke getting dropped back at the 6. Should have stepped up a little bit more there. Kwity Paye with the sack. Well, that leaves us with 2 more downs here to find ourselves a lead. It is 14-14 at the 6. Locke once again scrambling. Finds the edge, but not gonna sprint by 93. And that leaves us 4th and goal down to the 3. But you know we're going for it here. Under center, a tight look. See if we can get someone open. Well, we have our guy, but it gets there too late. Aluakon with the pick as he's trying to find the pick 6. Locke needs to find the angle, but he will not. We were supposed to go ahead, but instead it will be the Bengals inside the 2-minute mark. They get the pick 6. Aluakon goes the length of the field. And for some reason, the bench is not celebrating. It's just the guys on the field. Let's see if we can make up for that mistake. We got 1:41, and now we need to tie, not even take the lead. I'm gonna flip the play here. I want Morgan instead going on the deep corner. He's kind of been our guy today as he gets a good step, but Locke places it just too far outside. Honestly, could have used accuracy like that on the previous throw to the outside of the receiver, made it much more likely that we would get the catch or no one would have gotten the catch. Across the middle, we have our guy, and it's through the hands of Morgan. Obviously, 4-down territory as we're losing here. 21-14, about a minute and a half left in this one. Need to pick up a first down. We got our guy who's not going to catch it. Once again, through the hands. That time stole the tight end. Leaves us with 4th and 10. It's a double A gap look here for the Bengals defense. We got most of our guys going to that first down and nothing shorter as we find Stoll this time sprinting past midfield and out of bounds, keeping our hopes alive. Just need to see more catches like that, well-placed balls like that, and we might have ourselves an opportunity. Got some short stop routes. Also got the running back going out on a route, but we're getting dropped in the backfield. It's Pascal. He's the one that stopped Locke from getting to the end zone on the previous drive prior to the interception. As we're under a minute left here, we got some short route options, some deep developing route options. Just need the offensive line to hold up a little bit longer would be great. But we're about out of time in this one as it's 3rd and 20. Got maybe time for 2 more plays depending on how long the setup takes. We got some guys going deep downfield. Can McKissick get the step? No! Most off the tip. We got time for 1 more play. And just as we ended the first half, it's how we might be ending the game here. Hail Mary attempt. Can Locke get it there? Can the offensive line hold up long enough as he's having to scramble, getting yanked by the face mask? We will have 1 more play, 15 yards closer. You'd think Micah Parsons would know better than that. Will they take him off the field this time? No time on the clock, just need a touchdown. As Locke steps up, this one will get to about the goal line, but it's slapped down. The Bengals will get the win. We'll sim through week 18 and then wrap up what has been a pretty disappointing season 1. But honestly, we kind of expected it with how this offense was shaped. The season would officially come to an end with us being the worst team, which would be great if we had all options for whatever we wanted to do in the draft, but considering it's states only and us not having that first round picked after we traded for Greenlaw, we don't really get anything out of being 2-15, but a much higher 2nd round pick. But as expected, we had one of the worst offenses. In fact, the worst offense, 32nd. Defense was a little bit better. They were 24th this year. But in terms of the individual stats, Drew Lock finished his season with 6 more interceptions than he had touchdowns, 17-23. His completion percentage was a 58, and he had about 3,200 passing yards. So it just wasn't a good year for him at all. On top of that, he was sacked 29 times. In the rushing game, Tyler Batty, 3 yards per rush. He had 182 attempts, but for some reason late on, we just went to Abdullah. I don't know, maybe stamina problems occurred. Only 4 rushing touchdowns. He did have 1 fumble. Drew Lock, he scrambled around a little bit, but only 3.5 yards per attempt. 1 touchdown for him. Abdullah did have a touchdown, 3.2 yards a carry. McKissick awful at 2.2. Our leading receiver was the rookie in Trey Palmer. Hopefully that means maybe we had an offensive rookie of the year. That would go a long way in helping this team. But he had 781 yards on 67 grabs. Only 2 touchdowns though. Burks 3 touchdowns, 57 grabs for 746 yards. Albert O had 4 touchdowns. Landers had 3, another rookie. And Stanley Morgan, not a rookie, actually in his 5th year. But he had 3 touchdowns, and he got involved pretty well in that last game that we watched. McKissick did have 20 catches for 220 yards. Batty, very similar, or at least same in terms of receptions, but much less yards. But he did have the touchdown, so take that as you will. And the fullback in Carter did have the 1 touchdown. Blocking-wise, it definitely wasn't a good season for us. Jason Peters, 8 sacks. Morris with 7, though he moved over from center, so expect some difficulties there. Jurgens 5, Gates 2, Farniok 2, not that he should have been playing much anyway. Froholt 2, but McGovern 1, I mean, great from the center, who gets the most amount of help. Defensively, we had 2 guys north of 120 tackles, Greenlaw 138, and David 132. Without them, the defense probably would have been a whole lot worse, though shout out to Evans, who was 3rd with 83. Tackles for a loss, the top 3 all in double digits. Greenlaw with 12 and Golden and Wise both with 11. Our sack leader was Randy Gregory, who didn't play that whole last quarter of the season, and he had 6 sacks. So this defensive line, I expect a lot of changes, mostly due to retirements. We'll check that in a second. But yeah, nothing really fantastic. We'll see what all of our options are in the off season. George Odom, though, did lead us in interceptions. He had 2. David, Greenlaw, and Taylor Britt each with 1. As for kicking, we did have 4 more field goals made and attempted in that last quarter of the season, so maybe slightly higher, the offense moving a little bit better, but still less than 1 field goal attempt per game. That your offense just isn't moving. And as alluded to, I do expect a good bit of retirements to occur. Jason Peters for sure, as well as Ndamukong Suh. I do also expect Brandon Williams to retire. Potentially Blaine Gabbert, potentially Levante David. I think Maher might still stick around, and we maybe have another year with Marcus Golden, but I do expect regression. So the main core of this team is very old. We don't really have a lot of young guys who performed extremely well. So I think there's going to be a lot of regression, a lot of retirements, and it's going to leave a lot for us to do in the offseason. The one thing that should be pretty easy for us is going to be the draft, as there is Cecil Dennard, 100% scouted, and he's actually a talent of 2 to 3. So we should probably take him with that second selection, though we don't have the finished grade yet here of Caleb Dawson, but it doesn't look as intriguing as we were hoping for. But Cecil Dennard will look to be the highest possible player for us to pick up. He's not very fast, decent to solid speed, but he's strong. He's a more physical style of receiver with deep route running, okay short, but not much in terms of medium. There is some catching traffic, but catching in general is a question mark. So we'll see how he ends up doing, but we're definitely going to bring in as much talent as possible. As for the DT, at 95% completion, yeah, we got some pass rushers here for the defense, but nothing really for run stopping. Offensive lineman, there is Donovan Bowens, who's a potential undrafted. He doesn't look all too great, for being honest, though slightly intrigued here, actually, with Khalid Bryant. Now, he is a potential undrafted quarterback who's 5'11", 221, 22 years old, out of Missouri. He's a field general, but he's got a good spiral, fast over-the-top motion, does well to avoid sacks, throws the ball away. And he has not much speed, only decent to solid, good to great throw power though. But what seems really intriguing to me, considering that he's a potential undrafted, is his accuracies at worst are going to be B's across the board. It is A for short, A to B for both the deep and medium. What is his injury? B to C, so that could be a little bit of a concern. He's not going to break sacks. His awareness is low. He's not going to throw on the run very well either. So if we bring him in, it seems like he's going to be a pocket-style quarterback. But those accuracies look really good, and he very well might be our starting quarterback next season. We'll see what happens in the offseason, but that is promising. But that will bring today's episode to a close. It was not a good season 1. Hopefully season 2 is a whole lot better to make sure you don't miss it. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down and hit the sub button. They both do the same thing, and subscribing to this channel completely free to you. It just helps grow the channel. Get it out to other people who might enjoy it as well and get us even closer to that 1K mark. Also, if you enjoy and don't want to miss out, if you tap that bell icon, again, you'll be notified when these come out. This series every single Wednesday and Saturday. Plus, we have the traditional Panthers franchise every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So 6 videos every single week, plus the shorts highlighting everything happening. And next episode will be the entirety of the off season as well as the entirety of the season 2 regular season. If this team miraculously comes alive and we make the playoffs, well, then those will be in separate videos. So next time, expect off season, should be fairly quick, and then into the regular season, and hopefully we get a whole lot more than 2 wins. A little bit more competitive, as the Chargers ran away with this one 14-3, but we will see next time.